And I think I'll just record it over here on the Mac and not worry so much about any meeting because I don't want to ruin it if people can hear me. So I do have a slideshow. Since this is an actual class and it's for advanced students, I do have a presentation to give you about class expectations. Just so kind of everybody knows where I'm at with this and how I grade on this particular class. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Go back. So I'm going to just go ahead and go through very quickly. I just want to make sure I have everybody. There are 6 of us in this class. Well, not including me. Just want to make sure I've got everybody. I don't want to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just doing a quick head count. Everybody's here. Huzzah. I'm going to go ahead and do a desktop share. Oh, and my Mac is installing security updates. How special is that? All right. So, we're going to talk about my expectations for this class of you guys. Okay. I definitely want everybody to work this. I'm going to request a number of things from you each month, and you must submit them all by the end of each month. And on your syllabus, you'll notice there are due dates for all of your work for that month. Now, this month you don't have, you are minus 4 days, so you are probably going to have to work a little harder and schedule your time accordingly. I do expect write-ups. I expect photographs and basically proof that you're actually doing the work, because it's far too easy, and I've learned in the past teaching courses where I didn't require proof doing the work, that a lot of people would do astral work, and that just in my mind amounts to thinking about it, and you know what, thinking about it isn't actually doing it. So there is astral work, but then there's just thinking about it, and a lot of people confuse the two. So research, of course, is always a good thing, but it's not going to count as much as what you actually get from it and how you apply what you're actually learning and what you actually manifest from what you're learning in this class. So application is the most important part of your grade. But yes, I do expect people to do research. Research is only half the battle, though, because anybody can research. I know tons of online magicians who do nothing but research. Whether or not they actually get their ass in the magic circle and actually do anything is often questionable. So, because all they have are hypotheses and no actual working conclusions based on experimentation. So, I will grade you on you doing your assignments and turning them in. Creativity is a big part of your grade because real magicians create, and application of what you've learned and all of your skills as a magician, and the results that you actually get from what you're doing. I do want to hear about your results as well. So be sure to make a note that I want to hear about your results. So this class, unlike a lot of the ones I teach, are not just pass-fail. I don't just give out a certificate just because you showed up. I will be grading, I'll give letter grades based on percentages to make it easy. Anyone who fails will not get a certificate at the end. And you have to turn in every assignment. Every assignment is worth a certain point amount. And at the end of class, depending on how many points you have, will depend on where your grade falls. So I'm thinking of doing maybe something like 75 points per month. And to earn them, you have to basically show me that you're actually doing the work and that you're thinking creatively and really thinking through your ritual work and your assignments and the gates themselves that you're working. So, and we're not going to have homework in the traditional sense where you read something and then I give you a quiz in this class. You guys are all, it more too advanced for that. You don't need that anymore. Um, it's all just sheer ritual work and homework, pretty much. So everyone does their own work. It's okay to bounce ideas off of your fellow students. But I don't want to see any duplication where, I mean, I understand this stuff's going to overlap. Some people are going to go, oh, I did this, and you're going to think it's unique and creative, and so is your other classmate over here, and maybe you guys like have similar ideas. But I can generally tell if people are collaborating and not doing their own work. So I'm not looking for people who are conformists, because conformists don't generally make good magicians anyway. So, again, philosophizing is fine unless that's all you're doing. So, I don't mind people thinking about things, tossing around ideas, but at some point you actually got to do. If you don't do, then, all the talking in the world, shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's nothing I hate more than people who just talk. So, writing about how you feel is fine, and that is part of your assignment. I do want to know how the work is making you feel, not only emotionally, but physically, mentally, and all of those things. But I also need you to move into the questioning where you're like, okay, well, this happened. So I'm curious why this happened. So I'm going to try this next time just to see if I can produce a similar result or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I want to see, what would you call that? Constructive thinking. I want to see that you're actually applying what you know about the Western magical tradition, and all of the things, all the experience you've gained over the years. I want to see you actually work through that, if that makes any sense. You cannot do all of your required work in the astral temple. You can do some of it there. I don't mind that. When you do your ascension sessions or your divination, that's fine. The next thing I won't do is I'm not going to handhold anybody. I love you guys, but you guys are past that. You don't need somebody to tell you which direction you should invoke, a specific type of spirit from. And that with the Nuctemeron gates, there's no exception there either. You guys should know this stuff already. You should also know the elements, the elemental alignments of the astrological signs and all of those things, and that will give you a clue as to the genie that you're working with. So let's see. I'm not going to. I want to see how each of you navigate the gate, because each of you is going to navigate it differently. Each of you is going to come back with different results, and that's the cool part about it. Because each month, at the very beginning, the first class, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that you guys did in your experiments in previous months, and I'm going to pull examples of some of the most creative work to share, of course with your permission, with your fellow students, so that way, we can all learn from each other, because this is more of like a peer group. This isn't like, teacher sits up in front and tells you what to do and then gives you an assignment and then you complete it. This is more like I'm just kind of moderating while all of you do the work and share with your fellow students what you're doing. So, next, let's see. I don't mind answering questions. Don't take it to mean that I'm not going to answer your questions. But if you're going to ask me a question like, what time of the day should I do this ritual? Yeah, you might you might end up getting a verbal bitch slap. I'm sorry, you guys should already know that. You should know what day, time of day you should do your ritual. That's pretty elementary. So, and you can, of course, always bounce ideas off of me and ask me what I think about something. I have no problem with that. I mean, remember, this is like more of like a peer group discussion, and perhaps in future meetings, what we'll do is we'll let everybody talk. Please bring a headset at least and a microphone so that we don't have all the feedback, and we can have like actual discussions where we can go back and forth. So And if you do have questions that maybe are more on the difficult side, like, okay, well, I'm thinking about using I'm thinking about using quartz crystal with this and combining it, wrapping a copper rod around it, and that piece of copper will then be stretched into a sigil at this particular gate. And I'm wondering, if you think that might work or whatever. I might direct you to resources, or we can actually discuss it. But ultimately, I want you guys to find your own answers. That doesn't mean I'm not going to guide you. I will. I'm just not going to give you the answers. I may not directly give you the answer. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends on the question. I mean, if it's something simple, like you want clarification of what I'm looking for or something like that, then that's not a problem. But if you are basically looking for my approval to actually try the copper wire thing, I'm going to be like, yeah, that sounds cool. Do it. And let's see what happens. So, and I'm available to you guys at all times. You can contact me on Facebook or obviously an email at any time, and we can talk about your work that you're doing. So this class will be treated like a real apprenticeship, and that might be a little difficult because there are 6 of you, but I definitely I will make time for you guys. That's not a problem. I can do that. So I will be treating you like an apprentice. If I think that there's something that you're not doing to your full potential, I'm going to tell you that. If I think you're being a little lazy, I'm going to tell you that. Now I understand crap happens. I mean, we're talking, this class is running 12 months. Inevitably shit's going to happen. And if you do need extra time to complete an assignment, or something like that, that's fine. We can figure something out. As long as it's not something that happens regularly with you, we're fine. And, if you're working through grief or something like that, somebody dies, a pet dies, something like that, we can find workarounds for that too. So don't worry. If stuff comes up and you're not able to complete something or something gets screwed up, we will find a way around it. That's not a problem. If I don't like the way you did an assignment, I will give you an option to do it over for a better grade. And you are more than welcome to hypothesize, but if you do, I will expect you to experiment to find out if the hypothesis holds true. So, not that this is like a science class or anything, but let's kind of, let's treat it like the magicians that we are, huh? So, now here are some things that I expect, but I'm hoping I'm completely wrong. So, I fully expect at least 1 or 2 people to drop out of the course before it's over. I do expect that each of you will approach each assignment with your own unique perspective, which is the best part of the course, right there. And your fellow students getting to learn the different perspectives of fellow students, so you can all give each other great ideas on how to pull together magic for a specific purpose. And of course, the purpose of the Nuctemeron gates is to pull the light of God, or your understanding of God, or the all, into the magus. So, and I know that sounds rather broad, but you can fine-tune that. So I want you to think about that. You can fine-tune your intent on that. For example, it kind of reminds me of the Path of Ta ritual that I did back a few years ago, and I worked it for a couple of years actually, and that was basically to pull the creation aspect of deity through myself and bring it into my work. So consider, while you're doing this ritual, that you can actually fine-tune it and focus it for something that you need in your life, something that God or the creator energy or the source energy can help you with transforming in your life. I fully expect some of you to completely hate me by the end of the year, and I'm cool with that, because I think when it comes down to it, by the end of the year, you're all going to be that much more creative and experienced magicians. So, okay, yeah, you might want to choke me. That's true. That's true. Some of you will experience fatigue and burnout, and if you are finding that your class schedule is like too rough or something like that, and you need a little let up or something, we can find ways to. We'll work on that. We can work on that one-on-one. Now, the next class for the 11th, the one about planning your daily practice and planning your year ahead. I hope all of you are attending that, because that maybe will help you with time management and scheduling. So that's going to be very important, scheduling and time management. And it's also imperative that you plan time for rest and just enjoying yourself, time out with friends, time with family. Those things are important. You can't just completely, screw that off. That's not going to be helpful to you. And I think, I fully expect that those of you who complete this course are going to feel that it was completely worth it. So, now, if you are doing other immersion courses this year, and I know a few of you are, some of you are doing the Goetia immersion, and some of you are also doing the tablets class, and the magic immersion course, and things like that. If you're doing repeating divination, or you're doing, or for the first time taking divination, or doing the meditation courses, there are ways that you can, the meditation courses actually, you wouldn't have to worry about that, but there are ways to combine the work for all of your courses in, or at least find some way to incorporate it, so you can still just do one operation as opposed to 5, if you need to. For example, when we're doing demonology tablets, that particular month, the genie that you're working with, if you go through and do a tablet somehow for that particular spirit, you can do that. Because technically, I still view the spirits of the Nuctemeron as demons. They're just a different type of demon, because they're a divine intelligence. So, and when you're doing Goetia, find a way to work with the goetic demon that you're working with, or the goetic demons, because you're working with 3 a month there. Find a way to work with them in conjunction with your gate that month, your Nuctemeron gate. So that way you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and you're meeting the requirements of both courses, but you're not having to split your focus, so to speak. So you can still benefit from both courses, but you can get different things from them. So you definitely want to pace yourself. You want to have good organization and time management skills, and try to be prepared. To-do lists are my thing. That's how I keep myself focused. Otherwise, I would forget. If I don't have a to-do list or have it written down somewhere, I forget. Or someone to remind me, I'm in trouble. And then, of course, having a daily practice will eliminate stress and feelings of being overwhelmed. So if you don't have a daily practice, I think the new year is probably a good time to start that. And again, we'll discuss that next Sunday at the course that kind of covers that. So there we go. Let's see if we can get our video back now that I'm done there. I think I can close that. I don't have any more slides. All right, am I back? Okay, good. We're back. So, what we're going to do then is, I think we have everybody. Good. Make sure I do a real quick head count to make sure we're all here. So, for this first class here, let me just open up the syllabus here, so I'm on track. So this is kind of our introduction. We're going to kind of look at the syllabus here. So your assignment for each month is this. You're first going to, of course, choose the, you don't have to use the spirits in the book that are listed. You can go through and use other spirits from the Nuctemeron. And you can find them in the handout that I sent you from Levi's Transcendental Magic. And, of course, the observations in that file are AE weights. So take that for what you will. A lot of people think weight was kind of a quack. You know, that's to each their own on that. Um, I hope everybody has access to a camera. That will be helpful. So that way, at least on your phone, so you can just snap a picture of whatever you're doing and send it to me. Well, let's see. So each month you're going to do your research, choose the spirit that you're working with. You're going to do an ascension with that spirit, and then you're going to talk about the work that you're going to be doing. You're going to do a divination with that spirit to find out if the work you're planning is going to go as planned. You're going to create a sigil for that spirit. Now you can use, like if you are working with the spirits in Nuctemeron gates, you can use the sigils that I've provided for them. But I think it's more interesting to actually go into Ascension and see if you can get one. Just because it's a little more of an advanced skill. And it's going to be more personalized to you anyway. It may be a variant, but it's going to be your variant. And it's going to be more aligned to your particular, your energy, your will, your intent. You're going to create an artifact for each of your gates, for each of the 12 Nuctemeron gates. And by artifact, I mean you're going to create a wand, a tablet, a talisman, a ring, something that you can physically use in ritual. And by the time you're done, you're going to have a collection of 12 artifacts. So I hope you guys like being creative. You could have 12 wands if that's what you wanted to do. If you're really into like wood carving or whatever. If you're into jewelry making, you can, make rings or bracelets or, I mean, really, the only limit is your imagination there. An artifact is basically a physical embodiment of the work that you're doing. It can be used during ritual. I'd like you to use the artifacts that you create in ritual. When I did when I did my Uriel Belphegor work, I made a wand of Uriel specifically for that work that I was doing. I still use it when I'm working that particular type of magic. So, and of course I want photographs of all of these things. And don't worry if you're not you're not crafty or whatever. Just try. Do your best to try. I think everybody has a skill somewhere there. And then, of course, I want you to do your ritual. And when I say I want a write-up of the ritual, I not only want a diagram of your ritual space, and in your workbooks, you'll find the diagrams for ritual space in the far back of the book, and there are 12 of them there. I also want a complete description of why you've done what you've done, and then, of course, a write-up at the end about how the ritual went and any immediate manifestation that you saw. And then each month you can still discuss the previous month's manifestation, because some manifestations are going to take a little longer. And I'm not specifically talking physical manifestation. I'm actually talking about manifestation of the magic. So as your magic manifests, I want to actually hear about it in your monthly write-ups. So, and you're also more than welcome to, once the 12 months is up, if you still need to contact me about that, you can, to tell me what's going on. If you're still having manifestations after that 12 months, which you probably will be, then we can discuss that too. I don't expect this course to take you more than 5 to 10 hours a month. That's kind of, somewhere in there, you're probably safe. You're probably giving it enough effort if you're doing 5 to 10 hours a month. And that's not including the class, the monthly class, where we meet and talk about our work. And like I said, future classes will probably go ahead and have more of a discussion to where everybody gets to talk. So make sure you get yourself some headphones, at least. One with a microphone is always easier. I like this one better because then you don't get to listen to my computer lift off as much when the fan goes, but it is what it is. So basically, each class is going to be, we're going to talk about previous month's assignments. We're going to discuss the gate that we're completely working on, and then we're going to discuss any student questions, comments, suggestions, and then we're going to have, peer discussions, so that sort of thing. So today, we've discussed our course expectations, our syllabus, our monthly assignments. Now we're going to go ahead and kind of talk about the first gate, and then do questions, comments, suggestions, and discussion. Although we're going to do it mostly chat box today, because I don't know that I have you guys, I don't know that I made this meeting like a discussion meeting, because I'm kind of a pain in the ass that way. So I'm hoping you all have your copy of Nuctemeron Gates with you. Can you all hear me? Oh, good. Okay. Everyone's been so quiet, just listening. I hope none of you are sleeping. Oh, good. Okay. So we're going to discuss the first gate, and of course you do have a little less time with the first gate this time around, but the first gate, if you read the Nuctemeron, it's actually a very lovely poem here. Well, kind of like a poem. The first hour. In the unity, the demons sing the praise of God. They lose their malignity and their wrath. So, go ahead and think about that when you're thinking about your ritual on a larger scale. When you think of it as just a sentence, just think about that for a second. There's a lot contained in that sentence. To me, it's basically a statement of the all is one. And, of course, it goes back to the concept that there is no black and white, no good or evil. It's all in the mind of the magician. The universe is mental. And I say that a lot because I think it bears repeating. It requires a lot of thought. So, I'll let you guys go through the first hour, but let's talk about the zodiac for a second and how it relates to the Nuctemeron, because the first hour starts in Aquarius. Now, the first 4 signs of the zodiac are the babies of their signs. They are new, they're the curious, they kind of soak everything in like a sponge. They're the children. Now, this may not bode well depending on the person, because sometimes it can make people behave rather childishly when things don't go their way. But because that's where raw emotion and instinct come in. But you'll notice that as you progress through each gate, they become more mature. The next 4 signs are like the teenagers of the zodiac. They're kind of like finding themselves. They're, and you'll find that people who have these signs carry some of these traits as well. They like to explore things. They're always looking out for something new. And then, of course, your final 4 signs are the wisdom signs, the adults of the zodiac, the ones that are more practical in their thinking and such. So we're starting with our first gate, is the first hour. In unity, the demons sing the praise of God. They lose their malignity and their wrath. We're talking about almost like a realization as a child becomes self-aware. Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. And becoming aware is actually a very good description for that. And I have here Haven, the genius of dignity, because with self-awareness, often comes dignity, so to speak. And the N of Haven is Esnate Vino. And then rise, rise, haven. So, when we think about just this, it's the beginning of a journey. It's the beginning of an awareness. So when you think of that, think of what you can do with that. Think of how you can apply a ritual meant to bring the light of God into yourself. And please know that I use God generically, not in the Christian sense of God. If how many of you would prefer if I use Satan or a different name instead of God? Because I can adjust that. It doesn't bother you, okay? Yeah, I find with advanced students they really just don't care one way or the other generally. So okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so think about ways that bringing the light of God into yourself can transform your life. Because each of you are going to have a different end goal at the end of this. Generally, bringing God into ourselves is one thing. That's a very broad purpose of a ritual that's going to take you 12 months. But for that to actually transform you in some way, that is going to be specific to each of you in how you're looking to transform. Some of you may want to be wiser or be in a more stable position in your lives at the end of a year. Some of you may want to, be better magicians in general at the end of the year. So maybe you do want to bring a more creative aspect of God into you. Some of you may need more love in your life, and maybe you want to bring that love aspect of God into you. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? So that can be a very individual thing, okay. So whatever it is you're bringing into yourself from the divine source, that is basically the whole point of doing this exercise, of why we're taking an entire year to go through each of the Nuctemeron gates. Now, of course, we've all talked about gate opening in the previous class. So I do expect that each and every ritual that you guys are going to do, because you're going to do like one main ritual per month. If you need to do smaller rituals before that or in between, that's up to each of you individually. It depends on what you need. I can't tell you what you need. You know what you need better than I do. That main ritual that you're going to do, that you're going to write up for me at the end of each month, is going to be a gate opening operation. Because you are going to bring it into yourself. And I'd like you to even try at least once. I want you to try at least once during the next 12 months to actually bring the Spirit through you. Now, if you're really adventurous, you can do this each time. So it is going to be evocation. I'm wanting you to bring that particular aspect of the divine source through you in such a way that it transforms you. We want to do an alchemical transformation. We want to transform you into the likeness of the divine source. So, in some way. And maybe that's going to be, it's going to be different for each of you depending on what you're looking to get from this ritual. So, that's exactly what I want you to consider. Now, I'm not going to tell you what anything else I really think about each gate, because I want you all to like really sit down and consider it. And when you're doing your research portion, that's where you want to sit and think about all this. Maybe write down your initial thoughts. And then when you do your ascension ritual, I want you to go ahead and go through and kind of just explore not only the spirit that you're working with, or several of the spirits, of the Nuctemeron spirits, because there are quite a few. I mean, if you look in the file here, the transcendental, the excerpt from Transcendental Magic, you will find that there are 12. Yeah. Where is that list? Okay, so you've got your a genie of the first hour. You've got the physician, the judge, the necromancer, the genius of scandal, the genius of snowstorms, the genius of amulets, and the genius of dignity. When you're choosing the spirit that you're working with, think of your purpose and intent of what you want, what you expect to gain from bringing the light of the divine source into yourself. I mean, if you are a natural necromancer and that is your particular area of practice, you may choose to work with Capsulta or Capfulta or Casfulta folia. No, I can't even read that. I need my glasses. Casfuia. I don't know these by heart. I apologize. There's so many spirits. It would be impossible for everyone to know every last one of them. So you might want to work with the necromantic spirit. If you are looking to discover something, perhaps you'd to discover hidden things. Maybe you want to understand things better. You might work with Zahun. I think that's Zahun. If you need healing, emotional or physical, you may work with Pappas. If you want to if your point is maybe creation, you may try Mizkun. And then, of course, Haven would be more just I would say, more of a transcendental type spirit. And that, of course, is why I actually chose Haven for the book, too. So there were reasons behind my madness there, but method to my madness. So again, this is Aquarius. You are in Aquarius here. So you may consider also planetary hours and such that correspond with Aquarius. You may, do more mercurial work there. And basically this first gate is ultimately a process of discovery and realization. So does anyone have any thoughts or comments that they would like to make about the first gate? Any questions you have about the homework, anything? I hope you've all been jotting down anything that any questions or whatnot. No, that is for the Goetia. When you're doing Goetia immersion, you're going to be doing 3 demons in a month. So when you actually get to that gate, which I think, when does Goetia start? Is that July or is it August? Uh-huh. August. Okay. So August, we're going to be in the 8th month, or the 8th Nuctemeron gate. So you would find a way to Virgo. You're going to be in Virgo at that point. So you might consider working with all very earthy goetic demons that month, for example. You guys see what I'm saying there? Demons for stability and strength would be my guess. So save those particular demons for that month. Yeah. Because then you can incorporate somehow your work with the 8th hour of Virgo and the genie of courage or whatever, the very earthy spirits of the Nuctemeron for that particular hour. And you can also consider that particular piece of the puzzle in your goetic work, and then move all of that work toward that same goal even. So if you guys see what I'm saying. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think you're all up to it. I think every last one of you can totally do that. I haven't heard much from Mark. How you doing, Mark? Okay. Okay, good. So yeah, did I cut out? That's okay. I have this recorded. I'm recording it just so nobody misses anything vital. So, especially for the first class and everything, I think it's kind of important that I recorded it just in case anything gets missed. So, did anyone have any other questions or commentary? Anything that's not clear? I think I'm going to need to rewarm my coffee. It's kind of lukewarm. Okay, no worries. Go ahead. Maybe I should go warm up my coffee. Why don't we take a break to stand up and stretch our legs for a sec? And I'm going to go warm my coffee. And I'm going to mute my mic for a minute, so don't worry if you can't hear all my noise here. Oh. No, I guess we'll just let that go for a second. Ugh. Okay, I am back. Let's see. Okay, Mike. Let's see. So no, you won't have to perform the working every day. No, it really depends what you're doing. I mean, if you feel the need to, like, say, do 5 consecutive days of ritual work, that's up to each of you individually. I only expect one major ritual, a write-up on one major ritual a month. How much work you do beyond that one Ritual is entirely up to you. It is. It's going to depend on what you need to get from this experience and what your ultimate goal is. So, yes, ultimately you do want to have one cumulative end goal with each month basically working toward that and bringing in different aspects of it. So, I think trying to work on 12 different goals. Now, if you did 12 smaller goals that all accumulated into one end goal, that would be fine. But ultimately, I do want you to focus on that one end goal, and I'll try to make all of the work toward that. You're going to have realizations as you go through. For example, when I've done extended ritual work before, sometimes so one month you might be focusing on your end goal, but the next month you may be focusing on your process. Because in the previous month you realized that the process wasn't really as defined, or vice versa. You may find that you spent too much time focusing on process that first month, and then the second month you're going to be like, no, I think I need to concentrate more on the goal. And it's going to change for every person. I'd like to tell you there's one definitive way that this works, but there isn't. Just because magicians are just as individualized as every spirit that they work with. So, I mean, to assume that any one of you is going to be like any one of your classmates is like that would be completely ridiculous on my part. So, you'll have to discover the answer to that question yourself, really. I would start initially with that one end goal. And then if you find that there are different goals that you need to accomplish in between there, then you'll have to do that. So yeah. Okay, yes, it is perfectly fine to think that you have one goal and end up with something completely different. And that does happen a lot. People will think, oh, this is exactly what I want. And by the time they're closer to the end, they're like, oh, wow, that's not what's manifesting here. But what is manifesting is actually better than what I initially thought. So yeah, absolutely. So you just need to start with something in mind. And then it may not become clear for a couple of months because you are in a discovery period. Your first 4 months is going to be your discovery period. The next 4 months is going to be where you kind of find your footing and get done. And I'm sure by the last 4 months, everybody's going to be very confident in what they're doing individually. So it's going to work just like the zodiac, just like those zodiac signs. The first 4 months, those are your baby steps. The next 4 months are your teenager finding yourself years. And then those last 4 months that's your adult phase. So you're going to find that it does that. It does that. You'll find a lot of extended ritual work does that. If you've ever done Kesdeya, you'll notice that the first 5 weeks are all balancing. So you're completely balanced by the time that's done. And then as you move on from that, it gets more jolting, and you realize why you needed that balance to begin with. So Nuctemeron kind of works in the same way, except for you start in a discovery phase. You work through a finding yourself phase, and I'm sure by the last 4 months, your end goal is going to be pretty clear to yourself. You're going to probably solidify it in that, probably in that 9th month would be my guess. You're going to start solidifying it in the 9th month. Because the 9th month is, I believe it's the 9th month is Earth. Let me see. Am I wrong? No, you're going to start solidifying it in the 8th month. But possibly the 9th month. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yep. So, and you're going to find some work more energetic than others, and some work's going to be more grounding, And you're going to need all those different ups and downs and different levels to kind of keep your footing and keep it stable. That's why, you're doing a different element each month, if you think about it, and you're alternating. Because remember, each zodiac sign has an element. Let's see, okay, good. I think I've got everybody's questions so far. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you think of your more broader issues of things that you want to work on, and it is going to refine itself as you go. So yes, you absolutely could work with more than one spirit. Yes, absolutely. So what you feel you can deal with. Some of you may want to try working with all of them just to see which one feels right, and then you'll pick one for your main ritual. You know what I'm saying? So you may adjust it. I do recommend trying to meditate on all of them, and maybe when you're doing your ascension, kind of try to meet with all of them, and just kind of feel them out, and see how you feel about that. You're going to get a lot from that ascension work, including sigils, possible ends, and of course feeling out the spirits themselves to see which ones are going to work best with you. And one of them may pull you in, and you may not even know. You may not even know what your end goal is, except for to bring the light of God into yourself, or the light of the divine source into yourself. You may not have any other goal than that in the beginning. So yeah, I think so too. I think you'll all learn a great deal about yourselves and your work as magicians. I don't know. I don't think you're going to find as much. You're not going to find as much chaos like you would with Kesdea, because Kesdea is meant to basically deconstruct and then reconstruct, whereas the Nuctemeron is more deep realizations and deep, long-lasting internal changes, as opposed to external changes. Whereas Kesdea does tend to focus a little more on the earthly plane, and does tend to turn people's lives on their heads. So yeah, I think you'll find it's not as rough not as rough a ride. So yeah. So yeah, just try not, it's good to be ambitious, but try not to bite off more than you can chew too. Don't try to force yourself to work with every single spirit of the Nuctemeron, in any depth, because you may find that that's not actually, who knows, in the first 4 months you may, and then after that you may just hone in on that one spirit that really seems to just jump out at you. So again, in the first 4 months we're in that exploratory phase. We're just becoming self-aware of the divine self, pretty much. It's a divine self-awareness. It's actually a pretty good way of putting it. So how's everyone feeling? Are we feeling gung-ho and ready to get this show on the road? Awesome. I can tell Shayla's already got ideas. She's like, uh-huh. Same with Jennifer. Good. Okay, well, and always, like I said, if you guys are thinking something and it's 2:00 in the morning, and just go ahead and shoot me an email. I'm on the computer at least 12 to 16 hours a day. Yes, absolutely. It is time to sink or swim. I think by the time that this class is over, you guys are, well, some of you are going to be a lot more self confident than you are. You're going to feel more self confidence. And a lot of people don't have enough self confidence in their own ability. And I find like that's like the only thing holding them back is their lack of self confidence. So. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this recording now because I think we've covered everything. And this recording is going to give you everything that you